What's up, Paper Cup? Today, we're gonna jump off from a question that one of our friend Mackie Castello's followers asked him on Instagram.
As a believer of God, what's your stand on vaccines?
Everyone has the right to ask questions. It's good. It's good to ask questions.
It sounds funny to us. I feel like it does sound funny to us. But when we came from the States, there are a lot of anti-vaxxers, a lot of people that actually really believe that COVID was a hoax. As in, they weren't defiant. They really didn't believe that it was real, or they didn't believe that vaccines were the cure.
That or the people who ayaw sila mag-mask because you don't believe God will protect you?
Oh yeah.
You don't believe that God will save you from the virus?
That's true.
For me, I don't know how much sense that makes. Simply because all sickness, God will protect you. All sickness, parang, sige, I'll never take vitamins, I won't take care. You can go down a slippery slope and until you reach the point na, I'm not gonna exercise, God's gonna keep my body healthy.
I wish.
You know what I mean? Or, I'm gonna eat junk food all day. What, you don't believe God will protect his children? Parang, yeah, of course, I'm kind of taking the argument too far, but...
Also, there is wisdom, I think.
And wisdom, sorry.
Yeah, and a lot of the... Nate was saying that you can go down a slippery slope. So, I actually did watch this parang hearing, and there were Christians, like self-professed Christians, people who believed in God, that said they were arguing that they didn't want to wear masks because they believed that they had a right to air.
Parang
as in
God-given right to
not
breathe
air like
oxygen.
king, as in air as in hangin.
Like the beautiful, God-given right to breathe in His creation.
Yeah, which kind of, if you think about it, yes, it's God's creation, but at the same time, God didn't just give us creation, God also gave us wisdom. And I think, and some of them actually think that, okay, say the vaccine, since we're talking about the vaccine, a lot of them, or a huge chunk of people there believe that vaccine is actually some mind game, of some mind control that'll be used in the future. It's like, it sounds fun. It's like, when I hear it, I was like, hindi to movie, guys. But then, they really believe, as in they strongly believe it.
I don't want to blame them na parang they're stupid. It's really just
misinformation.
We live in an age where social media and internet it's used for misinformation a lot. It's used to propagate yung mga Viber thread na tita passes it on to another tita, and then it just gets more and more because everyone's passing it on. Suddenly it's true. I really don't know about Ivermectin.
I've heard both like good and neutral sides of it.
Parang I've heard that there's no harm in taking it. Although I've also heard that there's no
excuse me.
I've also heard that there's no real evidence or study, like there's no FDA approval. It's originally meant to kill parasites, not meant to kill viruses. And so there's no evidence that it will actually work. Although there's like parang tiny studies in a university in Japan or something that shows a little bit of progress towards that. I don't know.
Okay, but funny because I heard funny, we're hearing different things. That in other countries it's actually part of their like COVID care package or something. Like they're actually Ivermectin is actually being administered to COVID patients, and a lot of patients have supposedly gotten better. So see, we're coming from two different spectrums of information.
And now here is a situation where I like what's happening. I like the fact that we're having dialogue about two different angles of information. Na parang maybe some people really think that big pharma all over the world, all the big institutions, WHO, CDC, they're all putting Ivermectin under the blanket. There are also people who believe in it. There are people who are in the middle. The thing about this age is that you have to take one side or the other side.
Yeah,
and if you're,
I don't like that. I don't like how, say right now, say I'm someone that does believe in Ivermectin, and then if studies come out that it's not useful pala, I for some reason have to keep fighting for it. Like, no, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie.
Parang
you have to keep taking sides all the time.
It's okay to change your mind.
that
It's okay
it's okay to change your mind. I'm not sure social media allows that.
Syempre, there are issues of injustice, there are issues that are... But parang, social media culture carries it over all the way to stuff like science. Na parang, you have to take a stand one way or the other. And you can't be on the fence about it, or else you're not contributing. And I'm like, no, my contribution is, I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I don't have confidence in either side. So I'm reading up and doing my research.
But I guess it is much easier to kind of, if my husband believes in this, I trust his research and I'll just tell everyone else.
Sometimes
that's the Viber group mentality. The Viber group mentality.
I think they call it groupthink. To all of the psych people out there, let me know in the comments. Parang if many people believe it, or if you see it everywhere, suddenly it's true.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to actually have evidence behind it. But simply because everyone's doing it that way, everyone believes that thing. Because of the internet, there's so much more polarization between sides.
Yes.
And now, if you're a flat earther, if you're an anti-vaxxer, it's possible to not be stupid, to be smart, and to just because you're around the community that all believes that.
Yeah.
You're around the community of people that every day you encounter them, and there are a lot of them. Parang we compare ourselves na, wait a minute, if this guy matino naman to and he believes in that, even though a lot of other people don't believe in it, then maybe it could be true. Community is okay.
Yes.
But I think we need to research. We need to look at the hard facts. Circling back, we need to know that it's not unchristian to question, right? Different stuff that are being said.
Actually, I've seen it's actually a pattern that a lot of Christians have. The parang science and God don't go together. Like I'm not so sure. Maybe I am like in the younger generation na, but it can go together. It makes sense to me, but I guess from the older times it's more like if you believe in science, then you don't believe in God. Which is probably why people question like, is it unchristian or is it okay as a Christian for me to take the vaccine? Good coffee, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honey oat milk latte. There was that one thing that Roque was saying. Did you mention that?
I think it was the interview. So as we all know, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque got COVID. He said that
said that he got COVID.
He said that he got COVID.
Report.
Okay, he said that he got COVID and his oxygen levels hit 90, and so he was rushed to PGH. And a reporter asked him how he was able to get a room immediately while others waited. Like while others who have been waiting for such a long time have not gotten a room. And his response was, I think that's an unchristian question.
Let's look at the Bible.
Okay.
Let's go to...
What's unchristian ba and what's Christian?
Well, actually, let's look at verification of facts.
Okay.
In the Bible, in the New Testament, in the book of Acts, there was a group of people that were actually commended by the early church because the things that Paul was preaching, the early disciples were preaching, the things that Jesus was preaching. Syempre, it's very revolutionary back in the day. Bereans, they were commended for checking the Old Testament scriptures and cross-checking the facts and fact-checking with what Jesus was actually saying. The Bible commends that group that cross-checked the facts. And
I think a lot of people think it's not like that because they feel like faith is just this blur of trust.
That's Parang that's blind faith. We're not it's not a blind faith.
Yeah, it's not a blind. That's the thing. Parang being a Christian suddenly becomes like this poofy clouds, trust blindly kind of thing. Like honestly, that's honestly what I thought of it at first. Like I grew up in church, and then when I had to be when I decided to be a real Christian, like from outside looking in, it did look like a rainbow cloud that YOLO. Parang it felt like that. But it's actually not. People in the Bible actually did check their facts. People in the Bible, parang there were learned people that actually believed in Jesus.
It's okay to ask questions.
Yes.
It's okay to question, actually. Okay, the underlying principle about the government. I'll refer to Romans 13. The first part of the chapter talks about submitting yourselves for the Lord's sake to every authority instituted among men, whether to the king as a supreme authority or to governors who are sent by God to punish those who do wrong and commend those who do right. So in general, it's about obeying authority, submitting to authority, and it makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, that's why it's literally called a government.
Yeah. Jesus himself said, diba, give to Caesar what is due to Caesar.
Yeah.
Give to God what's due to God. But you're still under the Caesarian government. Or, Paul instructed slaves back in the day when slaves were a thing, na even if your masters are cruel, even if your masters are harsh, you obey them and you serve them as if you're serving the Lord and not men. Why? Because the reality is there's not always going to be good governments and good masters here on earth. But we're not home. I have a video on that we're exiled still on earth. There's a greater kingdom, a greater life and an eternity meant for us where we'll really feel. So that's one.
I'm excited for that. I'm excited for Jesus to come and
fix it all. Yeah.
Lord, just come.
All the broken stuff. So firstly, we gotta accept that there's brokenness in the world. But secondly, on top of that, remember that verse. Submit yourself to the authorities who are sent by God to punish those who do wrong and commend those who do right. There's kind of an assumption here. There's kind of an implication.
I was gonna ask, but what if authority doesn't punish the wrong?
Those who do
In
wrong.
fact, they cover up the wrong,
and then they don't commend those who do right.
Wrong. Yeah.
That's why it's okay to question that if one mayor is saying walang palakasan, even my mother who has comorbidities is going through the right process in order to get a vaccine. She's not skipping the line. She's my own mother. And then there are others out there who take the shortcuts. That's why it's okay to question. That's why even in the Bible, there's a story of Daniel.
Yeah.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these three guys who were Jews, who were followers of God, were asked to bow down to a big statue idol of King Nebuchadnezzar. Despite what it says in the Bible na submit to every authority, they also said, we'd rather obey God than obey men.
They stood up for what was
right. Tama. And so, you can't read this one verse, submit to authority. You can't read it blindly.
Yeah, and say, bahala na eh. I have to just obey and follow and just honor them.
Even if they're unjust.
Yeah.
Even if they're doing what's wrong. And then, again, there's always a balance. I don't have that balance perfect yet. There's a balance between accepting the fact that there are broken governments and that we're not home, so there are parts where we still need to submit.
Yeah.
And at the same time balancing that with, if they really ask us to do something wrong, we have to stand up for what's right in God's eyes.
I think it's possible to still honor authority, but still stand up for what's right. You can stand up for what's right without dishonoring the authority.
There you go.
That's
one. If you're on YouTube, you have not listened to the full podcast. You've listened to a condensed version. Head over to The Paper Cup on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, whatever you used to listen to podcasts, it's probably there already. And you'll hear the whole 20-minute conversation.
But we didn't answer the question. So is it as a Christian, is it okay to take the vaccine?
I'm not gonna answer that.
Really?
Okay na.
Okay.
Go.
I would like to give my thoughts on it, honestly.
As a human being, who cares about
I'm saying this as a Christian. As a Christian, I believe that God has given us what we need, and that includes wisdom. And that includes science. If there's a cure for it, or if there's a way for people to become immune to it, or to encourage herd immunity, to not get it, to fight, to strengthen their immune system so that they won't get it or spread it around. As a Christian, I would be like, hey, that's probably God's way of helping us. Like, He gave us things here on earth to figure out how to protect ourselves from that. As a human being, it's like a no-brainer for me that, hey, it's kind of like you're in a building with fire and like in a building caught on fire, and I'm like, should I use this hose of water or shall I wait for the Lord to help me? It's more like
God will be the one to put out the fire, but then there's a hose in your hand.
Yeah, it's like, just use the hose. So for me, that's what it sounds like to me.
We might be making light of the question. There might be very sincere and very strong arguments.
Yes.
That say, from a Christian perspective, I actually think that you shouldn't be taking the vaccine because in the Bible, da 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 da. If you have that opinion,
that's great. That's why we're discussing this.
Yeah, if you have that opinion, we might not have heard it before. So let us know.
Yes.
And we're gonna ask our friends and our pastors and our leaders. We'll get back to you. And we'd love to further this discussion. But right now, I don't see any reason why a Christian shouldn't take the vaccine.
Thanks for joining us in our coffee table discussion.
If you genuinely like content like this kind of real talk stuff, a like will always help. Comments on what other topics you want us to talk about are very helpful. And if you wanna watch more videos like this, feel free to visit the channel. Hit the subscribe button. Did I say hit the subscribe button.
Hit the subscribe.
And turn on the notification bell even. I post every Sunday.
Yeah.
That's it. See you next time. And as always, have a great day.